This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Don't chew on that, Max.
Cooper loves that chew too.
Oh, now he's into Cooper's food. Wow, he is loving it. What do you feed Cooper?
Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula. He never leaves a crumb. I love it because it's made with high-quality protein, nutrient-rich fruits and veggies, and wholesome whole grains.
Looks like we're switching to Blue.
Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.
What's up, everybody? It's Will, and we're back for another brand new Field Note Fridays episode brought to you by Work Sharp Tools, the knife sharpening company. And we're actually live down here in Texas for turkey camp right now, and I've got Mr. Josh Dahlke here, and we're going to give y'all an in-the-field report of what the birds are doing down here in Texas, in the North Zone specifically. So Texas is actually split up into 2 different zones, the North Zone and South Zone. We're actually just kind of right on the border, almost smack dab in the middle, if you will. And so, Josh, thanks for hopping on. We're here live in turkey camp. What has been your takeaway on this week?
Well, first of all, I'll say to everybody who's listening to this, I apologize in advance if I lack a little bit of coherence. It's because the sleep dep has already set in. Turkey season is now officially into full swing, and for me, turkey season goes into full swing the moment it starts. And I actually started about a week ago in Nebraska hunting on an Indian reservation, so I got an early start, but I didn't have a tag in my pocket, so I was just out there with some buddies. We knocked down some birds, and so I've been really looking forward to coming down here to try to hunt a Rio down here in Texas. And like Will said, we're here just about the center line of the North Zone, but on the southern border. So we're just on the edge of the South Zone. And the way that Texas does that is for Rio Grande turkeys, they split it into 2 zones. And then things run a little bit different for eastern gobblers. But with the Rios, we are here down on this big, beautiful 4,000-acre ranch. It's rolling hills. You've got a combination of mesquite trees and live oaks and cedars and big dry creek beds with giant rocks, and it's just a really cool layout, super cool place. It took us, I'd say, 2.5 days to figure it out.
1 full day, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, one full day, a night of putting the birds to rest, and then put it together that second morning.
And we did put a bird to rest.
We did.
The second morning. No, I would say if you're hunting in this region of the country right now, what we're looking at in terms of the bird activity is things haven't really fully kicked off yet. And when I say that, what I mean is with the birds we've seen here, we're looking at groups of turkeys still running around together, very few solo hens, and just overall it appears to be very little breeding activity. No solo hens that have already been bred walking around for the most part. And also, we've seen gobblers running with each other, trying to court hens, and they've been putting up with each other. So that's interesting because in the progression of the season, right now we should be seeing either gobblers that are going with hens by themselves, or, probably in most cases not seeing gobblers that are going to be running with hens cooperating with each other. There should just be one dominant bird running with a hen or a couple of hens. And we've seen a lot of intermingling. We haven't seen any fighting. They have not been responsive to calling at all, other than just, some courtesy gobbles and some basic roost talk and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the birds just, I don't think we've called in a single turkey yet.
Well, actually, we did have Jordan, who's out here. the bird that I called in for him. We had a couple of birds that came straight up to this cliff edge, and they were gobbling their heads up at the top, full strut. It was really cool. They were silhouetted at the top, and they actually roosted down, which y'all will see this terrain and video on what this place is like. The birds are insane here. But to get back to it, these birds roosted down and came around the backside of us and got silent for an hour or two. We didn't know where they were, thought they went somewhere else. And then we had a couple more right before it started, where we almost started losing shooting light. And we had a couple more birds coming up towards the top. Then all of a sudden, 20, 30 yards behind us, one just cracks off. And I'm sitting 10, 15 yards back behind the group, and all you can hear is and I could just feel it in my bones, in the ground. And the camera guy that's in front of me with the shooter, we both look at each other, and our eyes get giant. And he's looking at me, and I just see him flash up a 2-0 and points back to me. And this bird got so close behind me. I mean, I'm just sitting in front of like this little scrub brush. And this bird got so close, I can hear its fans, or its wingtips dragging on the ground. I can literally hear the dirt falling off its feet as it takes steps. Like, I could hear this thing breathing. It was right behind me. And lo and behold, I mean, he was gobbling his head off. I mean, I could just let off a couple, but I'd say that's the one out of, I don't know how many encounters we had, but that we ended up killing him, but that's the one out of all the encounters that actually was a true calling and active hunt.
Yeah, and remind me, did you guys have a decoy out?
No, we didn't. And the thing that saved us is we were sitting on this river bottom, dried up river bottom, and we actually saw 2 hens early in the evening down at the water. And what saved us was they ended up walking by in the front of us, giving our cameraman and shooter enough time to where it finally, those 2 hens going by pulled that tom into the riverbed instead of being directly behind me. And luckily, shooter put a great shot on it. We got him down.
Yeah, it would have been really interesting to see what would have happened if you did have decoys out, especially if you had like a Jake or a full strutter. Because
you can't put it in that rock down there.
Yeah, that's the thing with this place. I actually broke a stake this morning on my Montana decoy. I was trying to put all my body weight on this thing to just get it into the ground enough so it would stand. There was no wind, so I didn't need to get, the whole stake in there like you normally would, but I couldn't even get in an inch of that stake because the ground is just rock hard. There's been like no moisture down here. There's a burn ban. If we lit a match and it flew off into the wind, this whole place would probably go up in flames. It is brutally dry, which is never a good thing for turkeys in Texas or this part of the country in the Southwest when they're trying to produce some clutches that are going to take. They really need some moisture. I mean, there's enough for them to drink, but in terms of rainfall and overall moisture, it's not a good situation right now. So we need some rain. But
do you think that's part of the reason why they may not be super active yet? And I mean, we haven't really had any warm weather. The day that Jordan shot that bird in the evening, it was 96 degrees, and we had a cold front blow in, 40-mile-an-hour winds. It was 38 this morning, and it seemed like they got really active on that super hot day.
Yeah, you made a good point earlier when we were trying to dissect the situation about the inconsistency in the weather right now and some of the colder weather that we've seen in the swings. I do think for these birds down here, I think it's definitely having some effect. I think they're somewhat lethargic right now. And with that bird that you guys killed, going back to that, I really wonder if that gobbler actually would have came in and attacked a Jake or a strutter decoy. Everything else I've been seeing here with the way these turkeys have been acting, I think maybe he would have just come in and hung out. So when I say we're not really calling them, mainly what I mean by that, just to clarify, is we don't have gobblers that are running in looking for a fight or that are super aggressive. Everybody's just kind of flying down, going immediately to their daily pattern. Trying to pull them off of that at all has been virtually impossible. So the main takeaway that I would have strategically for this week is you're looking at hunting these birds just like you would on a on a winter or fall pattern, you have to be in front of them. You got to be in their path, either leaving or coming back to roost. And because this country is so big and rolling, and they're not gobbling after they hit the ground for the most part, it's a challenge because you got to be ahead of them, and you lose them so quickly in this country. You think that you could get to a high point and be able to see them in an open pocket, but we've glassed for hours trying to see birds like that, and you just don't see them. I think they're going back to the old tunnel system that a lot of turkey hunters know about. They're underground.
Yeah. Well, and I got to say, just, me being native to Texas, and I've hunted the North Zone my whole entire life, it seems like the magic time for when these birds really turn on is after Easter. It kind of seems like Easter and beyond, we finally have some warm weather, hopefully have a little bit of rain, gets the birds a little active, and it just kind of seems that that's when they really break up and they want to come in and rip something's head off.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I would say, being down here right now, I expected the birds to be, at least to have a few birds that were going to be way more receptive to calling, and some satellite birds maybe that wanted to sneak into setups and whatnot, but just haven't seen a whole lot of that. In fact, I'm hunting Minnesota this coming week. We open, I believe it's April 14th on Thursday, so I'll go home, catch up on some work, and then start again with the Minnesota turkey opener with some friends. We'll be filming some episodes for Posse, and I have a feeling we're going to be dealing with very similar circumstances way up in Minnesota where we still have snow. We're going to have to be getting in front of the birds, knowing their patterns, kind of clinging on to that really early spring, late fall pattern. And turkey woods, turkey country, things can change at the drop of a hat, it seems like, and you never know when that day is going to be. So for here, it could be tomorrow, it could be in 2 days. In Minnesota, it could be in a week when things just fly off the handle, and next thing you know, you got 2-year-olds running into every setup.
Yeah, definitely right now, like you said, just getting into those patterns. Your bird, you didn't even let out a call that morning. So just getting in front of the birds, finding their pattern, and just, wait until they start to fire up.
Another bit of advice I'll share based on my experiences during the past 20-some years of turkey hunting. One thing I've realized is that there are periods in the season, and we've seen a lot of that this week, I believe, where the birds are on a strict pattern, and I think a lot of the times the boss hen of that group is calling the shots, and it just seems like when those turkeys are in certain groups that are led by a hen,
they don't care.
They don't care, but also not only do they not care, but like they stay away from other turkeys, at least as indicative of how they respond to calling, because you can call and they might call back, but I truly believe that when they're acting like this, they're actually going to go away from you. It's almost like they are just trying to maintain their existing social hierarchy, or they don't want to mingle with outsiders. And I've seen that throughout the season in a lot of different places. So that's why I didn't call the morning I killed my bird, because I figured we might as well just let the birds do what they're doing. And just essentially we kind of had to deer hunt them and just sit there and wait and just set up an ambush. But I think possibly if I would have called that morning, that gobbler wouldn't have necessarily strolled by. They're just super lethargic right now.
Yeah. Yep. Well, y'all, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Hopefully you're going to be able to take a little bit of this advice from Josh and I and just kind of understand what the birds are doing right now. It's probably going to change here in another week or two, but if you want to keep up with everything that we're doing, you want to make sure you're getting these in the field reports from us on Field Note Fridays. Make sure you head on over to Apple, Spotify, whatever your listening platform is. Rate, review, subscribe. Helps us out. We greatly appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.